Do you think that Poole and Green's relationship can be fixed?
I am a second chance kind of girl. And so, however naive this may be, if Draymond Green believes that it can be fixed, although in this instance, wow, assailant feels really strong, but that's what came to mind. In this instance, he's responsible for the punch, and he's willing to do what he has to do to earn forgiveness, then I do think there's an opportunity to prepare. What I think of is that winning and success in that degree is far more valuable than holding on to this grudge, frankly. And so I am going to be a little altruistic here and believe that that can be repaired. What I find more interesting from that soundbite is I'm not sure that that is the single incident that derailed what this team is accustomed to doing in the postseason. I wonder if this roster had enough without that incident.
I'm going to go ahead and say this about that. I am really glad that Draymond Green took accountability. Right? I think recognizing that and owning that is a great first step, especially publicly for Jordan Poole to hear it and to register.
Yeah.
And for everybody else. That's what leaders do. I think throughout the course of the season, though, the arrogant responses were worse than the punch itself. There is nothing worse than to know a critical moment occurred, and that's on Steve Kerr, too. It's on Steve Kerr. He's not absolved.
Yeah.
Right? And Steph. Because all these responses, when you start giving me excuses, now I know you're trying to run further away from the incident instead of dealing with the incident. And look, we all been on championship teams. Like when you have to face that stuff head on.
It's true.
Because if you don't, regardless of how long it takes, that stuff festers. And by the way, there were so many times in Game 6 when Sacramento came into Golden State and won. That scene when Jordan Poole's coming over and Dre's trying to talk to him. Like, if that situation was squashed earlier, Jordan Poole will be way more apt to listen to Dre, who knows what the hell he's talking about, who's one of the geniuses of our game, to say, you know what, you're right about that, Dre. Get on the same page. But what happened? Get off me, man. I'm fine. And then Steph has to walk by, right? And then Steph is kind of scolding or trying to talk to Jordan Poole. And then he's dapping up Draymond Green. And then Jordan Poole's like, oh, you on his side. You taking his side. So now it's you. It creates a you versus me or us versus me instead of we're all pulling in the same direction. And their inability to address that and deal with that is what ultimately led to all the slippage. It led to that. I mean, amidst other factors as well.
Yeah.
Because then you can't really address things being straight up.
I think there is two things can be true. Yes. You got to address it head on, and you got to apologize if you're Draymond Green, which I don't know what happened behind the scenes. But I also think that Jordan Poole needing time is also a real thing in the healing recovery process.
Just listening to Steve Kerr, he used trust multiple times. That's a big deal. Every championship team I've been on, there's obviously you talk about camaraderie, chemistry, but ultimately it's trust. I got to be able to trust you to do your job. In football, I've seen many a times fights in the locker room, fights on the sideline. But you know what happens? 9 times out of 10, it gets squashed right then and there because ultimately everyone knows that, listen, yeah, we might have had a squabble, we might have had a beef, but nothing supersedes winning. That's why we're here. We're here to win. And from what it looked like from the outside looking in, that process never happened.
Yeah.
That process never happened where they squashed us in order to move forward, not only as teammates, but as a team. Yeah. And there's a lot of people at fault in this whole situation. The two parties involved. You got to be able to squash and put all that to the side in order to achieve the ultimate goal. But the coach is also at fault as well because when you have a situation like that where, Draymond Green just tried to fold that dude. I'm assuming in the preseason.
It was a bad
and y'all don't I don't care. Cancel practice, whatever you got to do. But if that situation doesn't get rectified then and there, then it leaves a friction that only gets worse as the season moves forward. So can it be resolved? Absolutely, yes. If the parties want it to be resolved.
Yes. Do you think they could have recovered from it if the video doesn't get out?
Yes.
Really?
So it becomes the public part is now the...
Well, because I think the public part then adds another layer because you keep getting asked about it.
Okay.
And you know how the media is. But Big Wood, it goes back to your point. Like, I get in awe of you sometimes when we speak because you won multiple championships. Like, from somebody who has won one, the fragility that took place in order for that to happen, everything went right. So you recognize, it doesn't work for a lot of players in their lives for everything to go right. Like, the ball needs to bounce your way. You need to get lucky. Like, those conversations need to be had because you're always met with adversity. It goes to prove how difficult it is to win a championship. Man.
Yeah, I mean, listen, even in like my championship runs, we had situations like that happen. You have like, it's never, the road to a championship is never linear. It's never in a straight line. There's always things that you got to go through. That's why I'm saying, like, because that situation didn't get resolved. I'm not saying that's the only reason why they didn't advance further, but that's a big reason why. Part of the reason why the Golden State Warriors are sitting home right now.
Yeah, very interesting conversation.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.